This is natural lighting, actually. I'm looking pretty good for natural lighting. Look at that. Look at natural lighting, baby. Ooh. Oh, yeah, I should talk about... You know what's funny? I don't even want to do this review. I'm just kidding. There's actually a few things that I do want to talk about this character. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about Ice Dragon Boy. Finally, he has come up, and now he's deserving of his review. Gonna be a bad one though. Woo! Okay, not that bad, but like bad, you know, like it's like you have diarrhea, but you're on a date. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? Not even I know what I'm talking about. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Cash. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the Iceman himself. What do you got to say? Ooh, look at him already talking that talk, walking that walk, and fingering that finger. That sounds wrong. But no matter how this video goes, just remember that it's 100% MFO. So, we are going to be talking about this man. He is a Zabentiner, but you guys already know we got to go through it in a methodical way, the way that we like to go through it. And if you're wondering where Monica's review is, it doesn't exist. Anyway, he's still at a 3.8. So remember this number. I think really specifically remember this number because sometimes it's cool to see people. Well, I don't actually know who reviews characters. I really don't. Like, actually in the game, I really don't do that. But outside of that, it's really cool to see if possibly certain characters get a boost up. Like, I remember who was Doodle Butter? You know, scFX probably had a low rate. I don't know. I could have swore he did. Some other characters. Valentina probably went up, right? 4.6. There's no way she was a 4.6 before her skin. Let's look at the boy's base stats. So I briefly went over this when I looked at his character just to kind of see where we was at. And now I'm looking at it again, and you know, now we have more time to talk, you know. Just me and you, baby boo. So HP is 4886. Kind of important, not like super important. I think the only thing is that Garf's goes by HP. Let me just double check. 4894, and I'm pretty sure I just need to check how does that work. Command. More max health than his, so he will be under the command, you know, naturally, as like what I like to say. So that's good to know. His defense is definitely going to be lower than scFX. Actually, no, it would be very similar because they're very similar. See, he's off by 2. So like it's very good to know, like, oh well, you know, is he going to be under that? Because sometimes you actually don't mind being hit by Fear of the Abyss if you can, you know, you could actually survive the ticks, and then maybe if you have a first guardian, so you constantly have something ticking it. But you'll know that he has a decent shot. He has a shot to get over it, is what I should say. Like some of the tanks in the game are more or less have very, very high defense, but he is a more what we like to call offensive tank. He's not really meant to defend anything. That's why he doesn't have protect. That's why he doesn't have block. So he's more for being aggro, just like scFX is not really meant to be a defensive tank. He does have a nice stun in two forms of a stun, and then in his skin he has something too to reduce mana. So, but what does this guy do, right? You know, that's what you guys are here to see. But let's look at the hit. Hit is actually relatively high, and that's actually a good thing for a person when we look at his kit, that he's going to be hitting things, and you kind of want him to hit things because he is offensive. Dodge is 100, which is good, as you guys know. If it's 100 and up, you can mess around, you can do some shenanigans. Critical hit is 60, which is kind of a but it doesn't matter. I mean, obviously if you're gonna run him with Rachel, you don't have to really worry about what his crit is. You would actually just build crit damage on this character, which would be, you know, kind of hard to do. You only can do it with the gear, really. And maybe there's no character, I think, currently in the game that buffs crit damage, so there is that. Now block is 120, and which kind of sucks based on his other thing, but we'll get into that when we look into the FC. Now 75 attack speed is actually pretty good. That means he's in, like I say, like the mid tier, so he's not going to be going first by any means because the character's way faster than him. But it looks like usually for this game, it's like you either have 100 plus or you go into 70s and possibly, I think, 80s. I think I have some characters that are in the 80s. But usually he will go like after a few other characters go, which is actually going to be huge to his benefit because of the way mana goes in this game. So if you have any tanks or possibly fast supports that are going to go before him, he might have enough mana to maybe even start off with his S3 or S2, whatever. You know, he can start off with his big AoE move in his FC skin, in comparison to not having enough mana in the past because he was an ice character. that would kind of, you know, you would have to hope and pray that there were blocks that went down. Do you guys even remember the old elemental system? It's been so long, right? Crit damage, block defense rate, and luck are exactly the same on every character. So what is this character supposed to do? He's actually there as a, what I would like to call a bait character, at least in the current meta of the game. In PvE, he's actually going to be really useful in PvE, because if you haven't noticed, at least in the chapter 12, I think that they started doing stuff where, like, god dang it, where certain characters actually, where certain enemies, certain characters, certain units have something where they, if it's not a crit, they take reduced damage. So you actually need to be critting them more often. So a character like him with his kit will actually be really, really good. So let's go in and look at his actual, you know, here, actually, how old is this guy? 23. All that cockiness, young and cocky, man. You know how it is. You know how it is, being young and cocky. His design, actually, like I've always said, is really cool. Look at that. What is that, like reptilian? Some snake skin? My man's out here doing it for the people. Really, really cool. I always liked the design, but he just had an underwhelming kit. Now let's go look at said underwhelming kit. Let's look at his basic attack. Nice little thrust. Got it, even like he, I don't know, like the pointy shoes. You know, gotta do what you gotta do. Now he does have thrust 3. Pretty much, if he gets attacked, he's going to attack you back and stun you for 5 turns. Deals 30% damage. No one cares. The only thing that really matters here is the gain mana aspect of it. You're gonna gain mana if the target has high HP, which they should, especially if you're getting hit early in the round, because he's not going to be fast. He might get hit by some random speedy character, and removes 1 mana the target has, and gains mana 1 to self if the target has less HP. So that's really good, especially in PvE when you have a way of taking mana. Taking mana is really good in PvE because sometimes the bosses will only do stuff at certain thresholds, and it actually makes the thrust more, it makes it better against PvE because of the fact that they probably won't take the stun. I think that they should have that on even on when they have high HP, so you always have, it makes thrust way more relevant in the meta. Some passives I feel like do need a slight rework because they're just not as strong. The stun for 5 turns only becomes good only in PvP and when there are a short amount of turns, as in like as people die and are low, and then yes, the gain mana thing will be there, but if 5 turns usually is eaten up by both the players going, so the stun usually doesn't matter after you just got attacked. That person's turn is not going to come back up. The only other thing that it would be good for is someone like Otard that now works off of a character being stunned under their status effect. So it's kind of hit or miss. Next is going to be the Dragon's Anger, and it's a 1 mana 300, which is really good normally on a more offensive character. But then he has Decimate, which is he gets a critical hit if the target is disheartened. Disheartened, as you guys know, is from Rachel. Rachel will put Disheartened on the enemy team as long as he has higher attack than those enemies. I mean, we already know that, yes, it's on his other skill too, which is pretty good. So he gets a guaranteed hit. This one is the only back row. This is 3 mana. Let's look at these animations. His claim to fame. Such a cool anime. And then like Reigns afterwards, which is like really cool. And then let's look at this one. Oh, and then he like comes through, then the dragons join him. I've always loved this animation, man. It's way too clean. Now just keep in mind that this one is only back row. It's kind of like Deva's original only does like back row, and then when you get the FC, it does do AoE all around. So like I said before, like there are certain situations, certain bosses that you want to crit them. He's always doing good damage, which I do like, but the problem is that he's only going to do good damage, at least right now in the meta, is if you heavily invest into him. And now with Signature Force, at least that it's good that these moves have mana. We now know like if it doesn't cost mana, Signature Force won't proc. So he has a reliable, like kind of a nuke coming from your tank, you know, that also is stunning and things like that. So he's decent, but you definitely need the Signature Force. Like you're relying on that Signature Force to make him a decent character, which I feel like right now Signature Force makes any character that either fast, decently speed, and has access to a move, you know, that's going to allow them to hit multiple units at the same time. So there is that. Then we come here into the FC land, and now I mean he looks even cooler. Like he put the drip in different locations, so you know he wanted to look cool and made sure he still had the flare. The hair is longer. He looks like Sephiroth, or I don't know, or other characters. There's some Kingdom Hearts character I'm pretty sure it looks like too. So, you know, let's see if the basic attack changes. Nope, exactly the same. Oh man, you got shafted. Maybe, oh, maybe the awakened characters just don't get shafted because they're really just the same characters. Now he has the Harbinger of Awakening. The way that you guys, hopefully you guys know how Awakening is. Pretty much, one of your allies dies, which kind of sucks that an ally has to die in order for you to even have this character to be useful for you. Ally dies, and then you have to either attack it with an awakening character. It doesn't necessarily have to be him, any awakening character, or when that character dies in general, he will get this, which will increase his block by 360, and he loses critical hit, which we all know doesn't matter as long as you have Rachel on the team. He will get even faster. His attack speed will go up by 25, and he'll get damage immunity for 4 turns when he is low on HP, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. Now the new thing that he has is the Blue Dragon's Protection, which is increases block of all allies by 150% of his own block, and it gets removed when the ally gets attacked. Now it doesn't say like per round or anything like that. It says, sorry, for 1 round. So for 1 round, sorry, it does say it. I meant to say like it doesn't say like it's gonna keep coming back for 1 round. Anyone will probably be able to tell me that. I just I don't know. I'm pretty sure it works as intended. If anything, it would be like something that happened like with Pirate Girl, where it was just a really weird interaction when it came down to, we don't want to make it that good. So if it works for only the first round where it starts off, then it's pretty doo-doo butter. Because like I've said in the other video, block is still RNG, you know, so even if you have very, very high block, does not mean that you will always block. You of course increase your rate of doing it, but doesn't mean that's going to trigger every single time. So if it does come back every time he gets a turn and it lasts for that entire round, that would be really good. That would actually make him a really good character worth summoning for. We're actually going to be doing 1 pull because you'll see why. It kind of just makes sense to do 1 pull, but if it keeps coming back every round, like every time he gets his turn, like he projects it out, then it's good. If it only happens once, it initiates, and then pretty much 1 AoE takes it out, like especially if you're thinking about like, the best thing that it stops is, let's say, a character like Deva. Like, and I know a lot of people getting destroyed by Deva, like pretty much round starts, Deva has the boost from Annie, and then she just annihilates you. Also, another thing, like I was saying, is that the signature force, if it doesn't block the signature force afterwards, then it's also pretty shit. It has to stay and last until the turn ends, and if it doesn't do that, then it's really, really crappy. Also, as you saw, his base block is not the highest, it's not 390, so it would definitely make him a better character if it actually comes in later. The reason why is because of the Awaken from the Blue Dragon's Ascent. He would have an additional 360 block, and he'd be doing really good at that point. I don't think his animations change. The only thing that usually happens with FCs is that the animations like literally maybe get a different flare, different angle. Yeah, that was exactly the same. It does go up in damage, and it also goes up in mana. So for 1 additional mana, 375. As people have already pointed out, that does make it slightly different for signature force, because it allows you to, the more damage, the more mana consumed, the stronger the signature force proc is. It starts from 490 and then it goes up per mana used. So it does help him that it goes up, and if, like I said, if Rachel's there, it will do better there too. So same thing with the Deluge Dragon, same thing. It goes up in damage, it goes up in mana, but as you, like I just said, it is a little bit better because now 1, it's AoE, and then also it will do better in signature force. Animation, I think, is the same. And they did him dirty on all fronts, man. But I don't think that any of the Awakening characters have different animations outside of, like, you know, Shafrak. And yeah, everyone actually in this art, like, the Bangas have like a little bit more animation work. Thank you, my boo Ulu. Thank you. All right, so as you guys know, I've had someone suggest that, hey, you could keep him on a frost set, and then he'll start off with a bonus 390. And I thought that, you know what, that doesn't sound like that bad of an idea. You know, you keep him on a frost set, you don't awaken the character, you have him there just to pretty much boost everyone else's block. Now, I would say that this is really, really good, especially if it actually keeps I should say pulsating, like it keeps reapplying itself every round. That would be fantastic. It would be just like the barrier. Like the barrier actually keeps applying itself every round. The only reason why I would say that that's kind of risky is just because of you're missing out on, obviously, not the combat power. The combat power doesn't really matter, but you are missing out on attack and you are missing out on defense and HP. And a lot of the other times, especially as you get higher up, these people are definitely awakened, and you're probably fighting purely awakened teams. So even though if you're using him to pretty much go for just block, you're hoping for early block, sustain through your team, and then once your team survives that initial hit, then possibly then you go clap. But then he's kind of just, he's literally there as like how people were using Bathory for Tranquil. He's there to prevent you from taking, you know, lethal damage on at least all your characters, either for AoE or possibly for a single target nuke. And there goes, it's gonna do that like 5 times in a row, 2 more times. But that's up to you, I would say. Like, also when you guys are getting equipment, whether you leave it awakened, I clicked the wrong thing. These here, you want to make sure you're getting the most amount of block here. I actually do not know. We could probably click around and see. No, it's gonna be nightmare in this screen. 80 looks like it might be the highest. And yes, I'm very well aware that when you awaken a character, then you would, these, like, see how this is rank 1, then you can apply these on, but it's the same. They look like to be the same, which is kind of underwhelming. I thought that it would have been nice if they really made it super stronger, the rank 1 faded gear, so that it would make it better for you for PvE, because PvE, like, they're still much stronger. So let's go summon the boy. Well, as you can see, I have 1 summon, and I will get my faded mileage and all the other stuff, and I do want to kind of test them out, but I definitely won't be going deep or anything like that on his banner. So here goes the 1 pull. And as far as team comps, you need Rachel and possibly a few other tanks or someone in the front row that's going to be a little bit faster than him, so he can get, you know, at least be able to do one of his skills. So I mean, he only needs 2 mana. Oh, he's starting off spicy. Gucci on the first pull. What are we getting here? Nice. I need to do a DOC video to get rid of all my whatchamacallit. I have a ton of faded dupes that need to go. That need to go. Was that one too? Oh, okay, double Gucci. I haven't had double Gucci in a long time. And it's gonna be Emma. Still have not gotten my general pull on wall pulling. Ooh, double. Did we get the legendary triple Gucci? That'd be insane. Double Gucci into limited edition. Nah, that'd be too much. But a double Gucci pull is always a good thing. Good sign for the future. There we go. Nice. Double Gucci, man. And then we get the faded here, and then we get this. I was about to click recruit more, and I would have been sad, dude. Whatever. Alright, so this is the doo-doo one. And he is doo-doo. And this is our faded Barnabas.
Does it reactivate per round, or is it just the 1 round? Because once again, line games in the translation is just not very freaking clear. At all. Per round. Wow. Okay, that's really good then. That's amazing. That's actually really good.
So, so I was in Dreadnought stream, and someone confirmed that he actually does refresh it. Now, pretty much my review's the same. It's not gonna change. I said like whether it did or didn't. I gave you guys both insights. It just happens to be that it's one over the other. So I think in everything that I've said so far, it should be the same. So it means that you definitely want to go with the block. You probably don't want to awaken him, and that's pretty much it. Just solidifies that information. Now the only reason why I'm coming back in the video is because if you know, I might as well do a couple more pulls. So I did 1, and I'm just gonna do up to 3 here, you know, depending on how it goes. So I just did 1, and I'm just coming back into the video to let you know I'm gonna do a little bit more, you know, just a little something, you know. Snap, skip, and you know, I'm just, you know. If I say a couple more times, it actually unlocks something in the game. If you didn't know, I'm just lying. I don't know what I'm talking about. Ooh, maybe I should just. I'm just kidding. Nah, sometimes you gotta break through that barrier. See, when you get shaken You have to persevere. That's what Manifested is about. I don't even want to see you snap anymore. I'm done with that. You know, you cut people off. Like I just told Dread, you gotta play hard to get. That's how they work for you. I was just lying. I was just kidding. Oh no, Zeradin, just like him. This is actually, it'd be weird if I got the same exact, you guys would have to check his stream that he just did. If I got the same exact pulls, and that'd be funny. I think he got Zeradin into like Luke or something like that. Not exactly the same. Oh, and there goes the shaft. Well, leave that up to you guys. I'm gonna go back to my past self, finish out the video. But if you guys think I should go further and deeper, let me know. Especially for the people that have the character and are trying it out. Do you feel like it's worth it? Do you guys feel like it's like, oh, everyone should have this, or is it something that's pretty underwhelming? I do like the black fake cores if they provide enough spice, I should say. But my feelings about him overall still haven't changed. Like, is he still random? You know, block is not guaranteed, like I said. So it's still a little bit of a toss up for me. But you guys let me know in the comment section below. Anyway, back to me from like 20 minutes ago. What's also worth it is the merch, man. I'm actually, which is weird because, you know, doesn't really make sense. But, you know, I got the thick thighs shirt on. With a booty at bam. I don't know why I'm wearing this with you know, we're reviewing a dude and he's not thick, but you know, it is what it is. Make sure you guys go check out that first link in the description. And if you don't, man, what are you doing, man? I don't understand it. Like, comment, and subscribe, and just remember that every day of the casino is your lucky day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.